Hi, everybody. Welcome to our second class of Healing with Color from Julian. And my name is Cindy Frank. I'm your um, leader, guide through this for today. And today I want to start out with a couple of things. I had a really nice uh, mention from Teresa, and I just want to read what she wrote here. As I was listening to the first discussion on color, as an artist, color is my lifeline, but I hadn't put the spiritual aspect of color to my work. As I listened, I was thinking of how I can use color in my artwork as a conduit of spiritual healing, which I thought was just fascinating. I mean, artwork specifically for someone going through something, the possibilities are endless. That was really a great observation, Teresa. Thank you.
Well, I also think that's why we feel when we go to art museums, we're so drawn to certain paintings,
Mhm.
the color schemes that actually feed us and help heal us.
Yeah,
It's,
absolutely.
yeah, why you
Not
can
just not just the subjects, but the
yeah.
colors too.
Hmm.
And some artists are even known for color. There was one artist known for his red, Caravaggio or something. I think I watch a lot of YouTube. Anyhow, it's pretty good. And then I had a question from Patricia. She says white light has all the colors of the spectrum, so why not just white light when someone needs healing? Good question. I really had to meditate on that a little bit. But what I came up with is that the concentration of the color, the concentrating the red or the yellow or the blends really um, helps focus in on what we want healed or what we would like to have healed for ourselves or anyone else. And also, as a healer, I think connecting with the color that you're sending and assimilating that color into yourself is really important. That's one of the things that um, we were talking about. So um, that's why I think we focus on certain colors and not the whole spectrum of colors.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah, I think so, Cindy. And I had one other thing, but when you're not sure what color to send, please send white light.
Yeah. Or as Julian told us last week, send green. Green is the color of healing. Green is love. And sending white light to any situation, if you don't know,
Mhm.
sending white light is always good. Hi, Carly. Glad to see you here.
Where's your menu? I have your menu. They did not give you menu this week. You check this.
Okay. Okay. So I want to thank Jan for putting together the triangle of energy. It's really great. And I think it just illustrates exactly what we wanted it to, what we needed it to. Um,
Yeah.
As we just a very quick overview from last time, we have red is for physical, blue is for emotional, and yellow is for mental. And what you get with combinations of these colors are the blends or the secondary colors, which would be orange, violet, and green. So if you were sending someone violet, okay, what two colors, what two base colors would that be based on?
Red and blue.
Red and blue, exactly. So red is for everybody physical, and blue is for emotional, right?
Communication,
Hmm?
communication.
Here,
But blue is for
I'll give you the
communication, right?
information
That's
for
the
the
throat chakra.
shelves
And
later.
in healing, it's for the emotional aspect of it. Good. The blend of the color comfortably merges and then form that merger to begin the healing. And then, okay, so somebody has, we're giving them, there's an accident and there's a physical hurt, and we can assume that there's a emotional connotation with that because it was an accident. People are shook up. So we want to send the violet, right? We bring it down into our heads, from above, into our minds. Bring that color in. It goes through your heart. You assimilate it into yourself. and it can come out through your hands, right? So then when we're sending the color, we can flood them with violet, and then we can send more concentrated red, more concentrated blue, and then maybe flood it with violet again, or however you're feeling drawn to do that. But you see how those colors work together. So that's what we were talking about last week. When we start this week, we're going to be going on with your hands are tools of healing. And you have to remember one thing. Your fingers are like pointers. They're surgeon's knives, the fingertips. Have you ever heard of people who do spiritual surgery? That's what they use, these two fingers. Yep, exactly. There are several places you can never point your finger at. Don't point your finger in the eye or in the ear. They're like lasers, they're like surgeon's tools, and you can hurt yourself or someone else if you're doing that. It's not the fingernail that we're worried about. It's actually the energy that comes out of the tips of the fingers. So if you're doing something like in the healing techniques book, there's something where you can refresh your eyes if you've been on a computer all day, watching TV all day or whatever. But instead of your fingers, pointing in your eyes, you can use the palms of your hand or the pads of your fingers. If you want to do something with the ear, there's something that does with the ear. You can put the pads of your fingers or even your thumb. But these are the more healing fingers, so you could go like that. But never, ever point your fingers. You could actually penetrate the eardrum, is what Julian says.
Oh.
Yeah, he's very adamant about that. So that we're talking about physical energy that you've built up in your body. What that would do physical damage, that would do the actual penetration, not the fingernail. No, not the fingernail. Okay. First and foremost, we have to learn not to go by the book where color is concerned. The primary colors are the origin colors, and they're very powerful. The secondary colors are the moderator colors that help you work those colors together, right? But you have to identify with the color that works for you for healing, which is probably why we would want to make it more focused that way instead of all color. It's sort of like knowing your tools. I can say to you, okay, now use red. And you say, okay, but if I'm going to use my soft pink red, not the red, because that color just doesn't identify with me. If you can't identify with the energy you're trying to put out, you're not going to be able to put it out. So learn the techniques, learn the process, but then also know you have to temper that learning with your personal energy experience with it. Now, Julian didn't say this, but I suggest coloring books. They're fun. You can really get acquainted with the colors. And then even a blind person can work with color healing, or a colorblind person can work with color healing, and it's just on the feeling. Although I think that probably if I were colorblind, I might want to go into a different form of healing, but you never know. Some things just connect with people. Also, nothing on earth can exist without vibration. We all know that. We're all vibration. Everything is. That's its identity in the universe. No matter what color you concoct, you can take these and make wonderful shades by putting your red and green together, getting beautiful brown tones or whatever. It's going to have a vibration. And it's going to have its mother and father colors. It's going to have the parental energy in it, as well as the energy that it creates by the mixture and the tone that you've created. So this is really quite a personal thing. There's no cut and dry. There's use red, but the type of red is up to you and what resonates with you. Okay. We have a couple people here, and in the manuscript and the transcript, excuse me. Julian does a lot of things with the class and people sending energy to and from each other. I thought maybe we could pick a couple of people. Would anybody like to send energy to someone else in our class? Okay, Carly, you'd like to be a sender? Who would like to be a receiver? I'll be a receiver. Oh, okay. All right, so let's try this. The first thing we're going to do, and everybody can follow along with this, and you can send it to anyone. We're going to talk a little bit about sending energy and sending healing is an excellent way to do it. Anyhow, the first thing we're going to do is run through the process of building energy in ourselves, okay? We're going to think of a color at first, and we're just going to build that energy. And we build it, remember, with the palms. One palm over the other, however we do it, until you begin to feel that spongy substance between your palms. Now you know that you're ready to pull the divine force down through the crown, through the heart, and out through the hands. Okay. Now, Carly, if you will direct that energy, and I'm just going to be a recipient. One thing I want to mention that Julian mentions here is sometimes when we're receiving energy, we put our hands up to receive the energy, but don't do that. That's actually blocking the energy from coming to you. So just keep your hands in your lap or sit on them and receive the energy that way. Okay, now, Carly, if you would just send the energy for the color. Okay. Okay. I could definitely feel energy coming. It felt very soft and peaceful, and I could feel kind of like a blue and a yellow. How do we do? Okay. How'd that feel to send it? To send the energy. I think she's still sending it.
Yeah, Carol, are you there?
Yeah,
Go ahead. What
Oh.
energy did you send?
me, you were referring to me? Yeah, I just
Yes.
sent healing light and let the universal energies come through. And that which you felt, as I do the massage and I'll always focus first and let it come through.
Mhm.
And that which the body needs will envelop that individual body, mind, and soul, their personal environment, and give them the energy and support that they need. That it will manifest as it goes with them.
It was very nice. It was very peaceful, very soft. Really felt nice. Thank you. So,
Yeah, you can do this daily to anybody.
absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to talk a little bit more about that now. So one of the things, there was a question of somebody picked up a different color than what they were projecting. And they asked, is that because that color was what the recipient needed? And Julian says, not necessarily what was needed. It may be that they were feeling and interpreting something else. Please understand something. You don't fail or pass this test. The color is going. The color is actually going. The other person's identification of it has nothing to do with your power to send it. So this isn't a pass or fail. I was sending blue, but she was feeling brown. I don't know what happened there. The other person's idea has nothing to do with the power to send it. Sometimes it takes time to identify colors. Okay, but when you've worked with them for a long time, and Teresa, you probably have a leg up on us with this one. You've worked with the Kirlian colors, so it was almost a natural for you to be able to understand it. So another person says, I was thinking blue, but when I close my eyes, I'm seeing orangish red. And Julian said, well, you're going to have to decide which one you're going to send. Sometimes we do that. We're thinking something, we close our eyes and we see something completely different. Perhaps you're being signaled that that's what the person needs. So then you would say, okay, let me take the one that's pushing hardest. The energy does flow downward. It goes right in through the heart and it spreads. The divine energy comes through you and through the crown. Divine energy enters the crown at all times. It comes through the heart. Then, because you have to care to heal, and we talked about that, then it moves out through the hands because they're the tools. And when you direct it to the recipient, the heart and the solar plexus are open to it. So the heart and right under it, the solar plexus. That's the chakra of the you. That's where you reside. Okay. So I'd like to do this one more time. And you can either send to someone here, or you can send color healing energy to yourself or to someone else that's maybe a little further away.
If you send it to yourself,
Mhm.
how do you, in terms of having it come through the crown and the heart and the hands,
Mhm.
then do you put your hands where you want it, or no, you just keep, what do you do?
No, you could direct it to any place on your body that you need it, or if you want it just all over, you could do the, over the top of your head, over the crown, so that it would go everywhere.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Okay, so let's just practice. Let's practice doing this. Whether we're sending it to someone, probably send it to someone out there so that we're not going in between us. But I would like to practice thinking of a color, and it can be your favorite color because unless you're actually thinking of healing someone, and then you would use the healing colors. And bring it down through your head. I really like that exercise. Okay. And to really bring it in and just feel that. So let's start by relaxing. Shut your eyes and think of a color that you want to bring in. Okay, now prime your pump, as Julian says, build the energy with your hands, bringing that color down through the crown. All right, into your head, through your heart, and out through your hands. And sending it, you can raise your hands to send it, just not to receive it. Feeling that energy. If you're doing two colors, you can do one color first, and then the next.
I think we lost Cindy. Just sent her a text here. How'd that feel for people?
Beautiful.
Her internet went out.
Send her energy.
Yeah.
Send her color. Let the universe send out the right color for her to get connected. Sometimes you just got to leave it to the universe, you know? Let the universe decide, if you don't mind me saying.
How'd that feel for people?
Wonderful.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we have a recording that we were going to play of June, so part of the recordings, and play a section of it, and maybe that will give her time to get herself back together here. So I'm gonna share our little mini player here, and here we go. Let me know if you can't hear this, but you should be able to.
Your hands are valuable tools. Treat them kindly. Occasionally rub them together to stimulate them. Stroke them, all right? This is part of the physical care of your own hands, keeping them as they should be so that they are electrically alert, all right, when it's time to use them. Remember that the two fingers are your surgeon's tool. These two, all right? The index and middle finger are the surgeon's tools, and the rest are the feeding tools, all right? And you remember, again, I'll reiterate, never point the point of your finger at the eye or in the ear, all right? Because the laser energy is there, and it can be too much, all right? Now, what about healing when there's nobody there? All right? Healing knows no distance and knows no boundary. You can heal someone in Outer Mongolia from this room or any other room. What it calls for is the calling forth of the energy of that person and the application of your energy to that person. Now, if you write a person's name down, esoterically, you call the energy of that person into your presence. If you call out their name esoterically, you call the energy of that person into your presence. You then direct the energy to the name or to the space where you've called the name. And the same thing will happen in the body wherever they are, as if you had them right in your room and your hands on them. Absentee healing is one of the most powerful forms of healing there are, because the personality fears don't get in the way. You say, if I say John Doe needs healing, John Doe is something out there. They're not here where I have to be embarrassed, all right? They're not here where I have to be afraid I won't meet the mark, so to speak. So when you can put all your energy into just sending out love and peace and happiness. A proper healing phrase should always be one or two things. One, you can say, let what's right and perfect for this person occur. Then you do not interfere with any karmic patterns or anything else. You just, if the healing reaches the body and occurs as it's supposed to be. The other phrase very often used is, let healing occur in its proper timing. Because, you know, if you are somebody who has been an invalid all your life and suddenly become whole, it's too much of a shock to your system. But if the system, first of all, gets the emotional healing that says, I can handle being well, all right? And then you get that mental energy that says, yes, I can do that. I can direct that. I will declare myself well. And then you get the physical energy that says, be well, all right? And you say, in its proper timing, you know that the degree of healing is going to occur in that person that's supposed to occur at each phase. Because it's like saying, here's your medicine, drink the bottle, or here's your medicine, and this is the dosage you should take. But because the superconscious mind of that person knows exactly how to dispense that energy, you're directing it from your superconscious, through the hands, directly to their superconscious, which in turn delivers it at the right rate to the body. You had a question.
In most cases of healing, you're supposed to have the person's permission to send it.
In healing, you always have the person's permission. In other words, you say, may I put your on my healing list, all right? Or they may have put their name on a healing list. But when there is a case of healing needed, all right, and a person is not in any condition to heal, that's when you say, let what's right and perfect for this person occur. Because that's when you don't know. And if nothing more than feeling peaceful, which can help them get well, is felt by them, that's healing. But you always make the statement, what's right and perfect for them, or what's right and perfect for all concerned.
Because at this point, I have a friend that is a muscle disease, and the alternative is death. Mm-hmm. And this type of healing would help them.
Absolutely. When a person is seeking to return home and is having a difficult time, what you say to them again is, let what's right and perfect for them occur. And please, if you have someone who is dying and has been suffering and so on, and is having a hard time, don't ask them to stay. Say, I love you dearly, I'll miss you greatly, but if you need to go, I'll understand. Because sometimes people hold on waiting for permission. And some people, because of their own need, hold them in that painful space when they're really ready to leave it, you see. So there are times when you have to set yourself aside and say, let what's right and perfect for this person occur, and let it happen, you see. And so, in other words, in dealing with healing, healing is not an ego trip. Healing is a service. Healing is love. Healing is caring. You do not say, I've just given you energy and your headache better be gone, you see, because sometimes it won't be, because they may need to have that headache to realize something else. Or it may be that the headache has to subside in levels rather than all at once. So what you have to do is always say, I can't see it happening, but it doesn't matter, because the power of healing is in trusting, believing, and having faith in your ability to be the deliverer of that divine force. You see, that's important. If you constantly demand proof that you've healed, you haven't believed in healing in the first place. When you heal for the joy and love of healing, and accept totally that whatever's supposed to be happening is happening to make that person be what they're supposed to be. All right? So if you find yourself seeking proof all the time, sit down and have a talk with yourself and say, this isn't about me, it's about belief. And if I truly believe, I will have no qualm whatsoever. I will know that healing in some form is taking place. Now, we've been talking about spiritual healing and the delivery of spiritual energy and so forth, and that's very important. But we also have to realize that we have an obligation to ourselves as physical beings. And I say ourselves because I'm in a physical body at the moment, all right? So it is important for you to take proper care of your body, because that's the forerunner of health. You see? You do the best you can to keep a healthy body. But that's not just what you eat and the amount of exercise you have. It's how you think. Mind over matter. Remember to think whole. And as you think whole, you will begin to be whole. And the other thing one has to learn to maintain a healthy body is that when they've been made whole, to forget what they had. All right? Because people keep reiterating about their great illness, you know. Would you like to compare scars, you know, this sort of thing? And what they're really doing is bringing all the energy that created that in the first place back alive. So we really have to say, I'm well, believe it, and let it go, you know. Otherwise, we keep reinstigating an old energy which puts us right back on the same track again. And that is why an alcoholic who has found the light does not hang out in bars, all right? You see? And that is why people who, are taking care of a specific thing don't turn around and do the opposite, if they're really taking care of their body. And a little guilt is okay, all right? Because everybody cheats a little every once in a while, all right? Don't make it such a heavy thing that you can't stand it, all right? Because you see, one of the greatest tools for healing is laughter. Laughter breaks energy and lets a new energy form. So when you can laugh at yourself and say, you know, what am I doing with this ache? I'm a healer, all right? You say, oh, I must have a reason for having it. Now I'll just get rid of it, you know? Because you see, laughter heals. How much time do we have?
Another 16 minutes before break.
All right, that's good. Now, a lady visited a shop. It was an animal shop. What do you call it? Pet store. All right? And there was a parrot in this shop. And when she passed the parrot said, "Hey, lady." And she said, "What?" And he said, "You're ugly." And she said, "What?" And she walked down the aisle. And every time she passed near the parrot, he'd say, "Hey, lady," and she'd say, "What?" And he'd say, "You're ugly." So finally she went to the manager of the store and she said, "I've shopped here for all my animals for years. I have no intention of being insulted by that parrot, and if you don't do something about that parrot, I'm not going to come in here anymore. So the manager went down to the parrot and said, look, I'm only boarding you for a week, but I'm not going to let you run my store, and if you don't behave, you're going to be in the soup pot, so to speak, won't I? So the parrot gave a great sigh, and the next time the lady came down the aisle, he said, hey, lady. And she said, yes. And he said, you know.
We can stop the recording. Thank you. That was good. I'm sorry my internet disappeared and I'm on my phone with a backup. But isn't that funny? Now, how do you feel after something like that? Do you feel lighter?
Yes.
Yeah, it feels good. Laughter is the best medicine. It's true.
Uh-oh. What I was going to say, I think that what this says is for all us healers that we need to play, you know, comedy soundtracks while we're doing our healings, right?
Or approach life with lightness.
Exactly. Oh, Cindy. Hopefully she'll come back.
Is her phone on the Wi-Fi too?
Not, it's unclear. Yeah, it could.
Yeah.
So what did you think about anything to say about those comments that were made? I mean, there were a lot of things that were said in those 12 minutes or so. Anything that strike you? I yeah, Teresa, can you unmute yourself and tell us what struck you?
Am I unmuted?
You're there. We can.
Yes. I was thinking because I'm a cancer survivor, and several years ago, I started Journey Through Cancer using art to deal with cancer. And I'm getting ready to conduct a workshop next month for domestic violence and cancer survivors. And I was thinking about having them to bring in color and then laughter in this workshop as a form of healing without using those words healing. So
That's a wonderful idea, I think. That's great. Anybody else have any, you know,
Well,
you
yeah.
struck? Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, the importance of of believing is just a really important thing to practice, I think. I mean, when I was first learning healing a long time ago, I couldn't see anything, I don't hear anything, I don't know anything. I was really a dork about the whole thing. And I finally decided, well, if everything is mind, I'm just going to say I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm going to believe that I'm doing it, even though I have no validation whatsoever. And that does seem to work. Just knowing that because I say it's so, it is so.
Yeah. And I think that the whole idea for me of the wholeness, focus on wholeness. Don't focus on what's happened in the past or your scars or, whatever. And I would imagine getting the people that you're working with to focus on wholeness is also something that's incredibly important.
Think
Just
about what you want. Yeah.
think about what you want and does anybody have any any words you've used in the past that sort of um you find really effective to people you're working with to get them focusing on that?
I find pointing out to them how they're affirming what they don't want is really tricky. They don't get it. That it takes a lot of foundational, gentle talking before people get the idea that those words that you just said are affirming what you don't want.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
it's important to learn to catch it. I mean, you have to catch it before you even find words
Yeah. Well,
to change it to.
the average person doesn't believe that their thoughts count. And I think that that's the first thing you almost have to build in, that, we make our lives with our thoughts. And when you start to believe that, then all of a sudden this whole thing about what I'm what thoughts I'm thinking are really, you realize, oh, I've been thinking too much about illness. Yeah.
True.
Is
Thoughts
it,
are things.
yeah.
Yeah. So, good point though. You can't just sit there saying you're spending too much time focusing on your problems.
Yeah, they have to be able to learn to discern what they've just said and tease it apart. And like, I was at JFK Airport, and some guy was running, 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 and he says, "I'm in the wrong terminal. I'm
Oh,
always in the wrong place." All I could
Jane,
think was, "Oh, there's a pattern."
change the thought.
He was running. I
correct.
prayed.
The things you see in airports, right?
Yeah.
So, some of the things that Julian talked about, and thank you guys for understanding. I don't know what's going on with my internet today. Absentee healing is one of the most powerful forms of healing there is because the personality fears don't get in the way. So, we were talking about that a little bit earlier. If I say that John Doe needs healing and John Doe, something is out there and not someone here, I don't have to be embarrassed. I don't have to think, am I doing this right? How is it looking? I don't have to be afraid that I won't meet the mark. So you can put all your energy into just sending out the love and the peace and the happiness. Another thing I thought was really interesting was to ask for healing once. Once healing isn't an ego trip, it's a service, as we know. Healing is love and healing is caring. You don't say, I have just given you energy and your headache better be gone. Because sometimes it won't be. And sometimes there may be times when the headache has to go out in increments. Maybe it has to subside in levels rather than all at once. You have to say, I can't see it happening, but it doesn't matter because the power of healing is in trusting, believing, and having faith in your ability to deliver that divine force. That's important. If you constantly demand proof that you've healed, you haven't believed in healing in the first place. So we say to ourselves, this isn't about me. And if I truly believe, I have no qualms whatsoever. I know that healing in some form is taking place. So that's why we say, may the healing that is right and perfect for you take place, or for them, or for me. We don't ask for specific things. Okay. Do we have other questions from that great audio recording that Jan put up for us? Wasn't that nice to hear, Julian?
I think it's great information.
It is wonderful information from the angels, from a seraph. I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm.
How lucky can we
And
be?
and if I might say, with energy, know that the universe knows what the person needs. We are universal energy, and this is what I'm writing my book on. We are universal energy. Let the universe decide. I say a prayer for my mom, and it's like, why didn't she improve? I've learned my lesson. Let the universe do it because it'll do it in the right time. And she learns her lesson and she grows. And, let the universe decide, not let our personal thoughts figure it out.
And we don't know, we don't know the whole deal. We don't know if the person is learning something from their injury or their illness that they have to go through. So what can we can send them, if nothing else, is we're sending them some peace and some love. If that's all that's going through, that's a lot.
And if
That
the
is a lot.
energy isn't used, then it will be used.
It will be used. It's
Energy
always
doesn't
there.
dissipate, it'll be there when you're ready for it.
Exactly. Or when you're ready to admit it into yourself. Sometimes
Good
we can fight it.
point.
I know sometimes I don't know why I don't just do this or that, or for goodness sakes, I'm a healer. Why don't I use this on myself? We're all our own doctors and nurses, right?
Yeah.
So we're
But our
under,
slowest patients.
yeah. Well, doctors and nurses make the worst patients.
No comment. I have two parents who are doctors, and neither one of them go to one.
I'm going
We
to
could
ask
make
you
a movie out of that one, but
boy, that's for sure. We're going to have a little pop quiz, okay? So Julian says our hands are tools. How can we care for them? Yeah, doing that. Also, kind of bending them back. I want to put this up here without losing anybody again. Okay. So one of the things that we learned in healing techniques is you can bend them back, just comfortably, of course. You know, your thumb too, and just kind of exercise them, stretch them every day by rubbing them. Takes a chance to put some lotion on them. Winter's coming. We're all going to need to unchap our hands. Okay, good. So, what is a proper healing phrase? What would be a proper healing phrase? Like, please don't let this person die.
The
all
quote,
is in divine order.
I know of someone who was doing healings on someone else and saying, please don't let this, she had brain cancer,
Mm.
please don't let this cancer grow in her, grow inside her skull. Please don't let this cancer grow inside her skull. And the cancer, much to the surprise of the surgeons who'd never seen anything like it, came out through her skull and grew between her skull and her scalp.
Well, then,
It was like a pancake.
thoughts are things. So, Julian
Be
said,
careful.
yeah, be careful. A good healing phrase is let whatever is right and perfect for this person occur, right? We're not forcing anything. We're not saying what we think should happen because, you know, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. So we're trying to make sure that whatever is the right and proper thing without us trying to interfere. And or we could say, let the healing occur in proper timing. We're giving over the timing, like we were talking about just a few minutes ago. Okay. Why do you think we need proper timing? Why wouldn't we say just get this healed all at once?
It could be a rewounding. I once worked on someone who was um, binging and purging regularly. And I did something, this was early on, and I could see what might be going on and did something energetically that she went home and she was unable to binge and purge. Well, I rewounded her.
Oh,
You know, binging and purging is because you're oppressed and have no control over anything, and you've got control over that.
right.
And I did something energetically that stopped her binging and purging, and that was just as bad as what the first things that were done to her were.
You know, since we've been talking about the colors and the blending and everything, I wonder if it was just a physical thing and we didn't include the emotional in there because that's a very emotional.
Good point.
I wasn't working with colors.
No,
I
I
was
know
work,
you
yeah,
weren't working with it, but thinking about what we know
but
now, I wonder if that would have.
it would have been better to have worked on a more physical level with the colors, I would think.
Yeah,
It would have been more gentle, it would have been more peaceful and slow for her.
and you could have included the emotional aspect of it in there with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
good.
think so.
Yeah,
um,
that was interesting.
but I think there are karmic implications if we try to impose our will on what's going on.
Absolutely, absolutely. We don't know what that person's lot in life is or what their life plan was before they came here or whatever.
Yeah, although I've kind of modified for myself um, the giving it over for what's right and perfect. So I frequently will kind of sit in meditation and go over what I think
Mhm.
and be in great detail and saying, you know, and watch out for this and I think that, and then I will say, but I defer to what's right and perfect, and your perfect timing. I accept that I don't know everything,
And you
but
have
I
a
feel
medical
better
background,
getting
right?
my physical
Yeah.
opinion in.
You have a
Yeah.
medical background?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
I have an energy healing and psychology background.
Okay, well you're aware of those things and you're using what you have your specific expertise in to complement that. Just
Yeah, I
like
figured
Teresa
we're
will with her artwork and everybody will in our own special ways.
right.
And
We're
Harley
working
with the book.
individually and largely, and we're
Exactly.
collaborating.
Exactly. So is absentee healing or distance healing, sometimes we call it, a credible form of healing?
Absolutely.
Yes,
Why is it good? Oh, I just said that, so
it works.
it
I
works.
had a friend over in Europe before he passed away. We would send energy, you know. We worked on the energy level and send it through the universal energy, knowing that it would be there at the right moment. The ocean, the sea had nothing to do with it.
No, it
The
doesn't.
thought goes out instantly and let the universe, yeah,
No matter
heal.
where you are.
Yeah. The distance, it creates distance from personality.
Yeah. Oh, what a good way to put it, Jan. That was perfect. You're more comfortable. You don't have to prove anything, be embarrassed. It's just energy to energy. We're eliminating the middleman.
Well, the house doesn't have to be cleaned, and you don't have to be all dressed.
Boy, that's for sure. I just got a nice blouse on and my pajama bottoms are underneath. So suppose, should you have the person's permission to heal? Do
Generally,
you have to
yes.
have? Yeah, you
Yeah.
always have the person's permission to heal if you ask, like, can I put you on the healing list?
Yeah.
Would you mind if I sent you some energy? Something like that. But if healing is needed and the person can't communicate with you, then we can go back to sending maybe green, sending the color green, which is an all over healing, or sending white light, as we talked about, and saying something like, um, whatever is right and perfect for this person in this situation. So then that's what we can do. And sending love like that is always appropriate. You can even ask, from my high self to this person, even if they're unresponsive, to their high self, I'd like to send you love. And if the person's high self doesn't want it, they'll reject it. But it's love is always accepted, as Julian said. So let what is right and perfect for them or for all concerned be happening. Okay. How often should you ask for healing to occur? How often do we need to go over that once, right? And then we assume the healing is occurring. Thank you for the healing that has already begun. What we're doing is we're putting our faith in it. We don't demand proof. Okay. But we do believe that everything happens for a reason and everything in its time. And last, what does laughter do?
Breaks the energy pattern that's there and allows a space for a new one to form.
Absolutely does. Absolutely does. A good laugh can change anything. One time, my dad was deaf and he had hearing aids, but it didn't help a whole lot. And he and my mom were married for a long, long time. And they had their tiffs, like everyone else, especially when we were playing pinochle. So one time I was over there and we were playing some 300 pinochle. And I don't know, mom dad said something or dad said something, and mom mumbled, and my dad got really angry and said, "What did you say?" And so I in between them, I said, she said she loves you.
It's
Broke it
beautiful.
like that. Like that. And it was just a family joke from then on. You know, somebody get a little fussy and they said they love you.
That's good.
It was a good one.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you do something beautiful, it enlightens the universe too, which shines back to us all.
Boy, that's for sure. That is for sure. Which brings me to, we're just about at an hour. I am so sorry for the delays and everything this time, guys. We talked about the surgeon's knives, which are the fingers and not pointing them in the ear or the eye. One of the things to finish up with was whatever way you work with healing is a good way for you. The one thing to point out to you when you're working with the light centers for world peace, they do not ask you to use a specific healing method. They ask you to use whatever healing method that you use that you're comfortable with because it works for you. If you're looking at our the daily prayers, what is it? The healing list. You can say, send energy to everyone on this page or to all on this page. Or you might want to read the names individually or just to certain people. Whatever you want to do is the way to do it. Everybody does a little bit differently. Next week, we're going to go into vibratory feelings that go into colors. We're going to do a little toning. That should be a lot of fun. We'll be hearing Julian a lot. As we said this morning, everything in every color has a vibration. Just as a color can fade or dim, the vibratory rate will alter it. Some people just use vibration as their diagnostic tool, waiting for some signal. Some people will find things turning from hot to cold or cold to hot. Others feel a tingling sensation or a pulsation. Various things indicated a change in the body structure or the body temperature at that time. And just always remember, like if somebody is bleeding in an emergency situation, you start with the physical. If somebody's bleeding, stop the bleeding first by applying pressure. What's taken care of, and when that's taken care of, then you send the healing energy. You can send all the healing energy you want, but if they're bleeding all over the floor in the meantime, there's going to be nothing there to receive it. So we want to make sure that we use our common sense. So then Julian says, he asks how many minutes they have left at their session, and the response is 7. So Julian goes into, there are 7 universal laws. What does the number 7 mean? It means to transmute. And when you're healing, that's exactly what you're doing. You're using the energy of the number 7. 7 is moving one energy to another energy and letting it all happen. 7. What's 7 in the tarot cards? Oh, well, there's a lot of 7s. I'm going to have to look at that. If you're healing and you're thinking, I'll repeat this process 7 times, you've completed a cycle of transformation. And very often that will help. Remember this, if you believe in healing and you send healing once, it should be sufficient. The next time you send it, say thank you for the healing that's there. Otherwise, you're saying, please heal this person, and then you're snatching it back. Excuse me. We don't want to do that. Say, please heal this person, and then you snatch it back again. And after a while, your angels aren't going to listen to you because you're just playing a game. If you really believe, let us help this person to heal. And from then on, when you work with this person, you say, thank you for the healing in process, or thank you for the healing that's already begun. Same thing. You never show doubt that it hasn't happened the first time. So just as vibration has color, vibration has sound, and sound is often used in healing. In the future, color and sound will be used more and more in the healing process. So we need to look for that coming up. We should start it. So next week, we're going to be starting to work with some sound in healing. Okay? That should be interesting. Thank you all so much for being here and for putting up with all this. I swear I'll have everything settled by next week.
But did we get your agenda accomplished anyway? I think it sounds like we did.
We did. It happened
did.
so that we went right into the recording, and
Yeah.
it all worked out. Julian was taking care of us.
Yep, the universe says we all did good.
Yeah.
It was, and thank you for putting this together, Cindi.
Oh,
It's
you're very
interesting.
welcome. You know, when I do it, it's so much fun for me to organize it and get it together and think about how I'm going to do this and how we're going to do that. And I just love it. And I love that all
Send
of
your
you.
organizing thoughts to us. Healing is also about organization, and that's what I need.
That's a tough one, you know, when we were doing the healing manual, a lot of that was organizing what should go where and here and there, and it flipped us times. But I think,
could I say something to Carol before we leave?
please.
Yeah. Yeah.
You might want to rephrase your last affirmation. It's what we were talking about. So your organization is on the rise. It's improving.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. It is improving.
Yeah.
I'm having trouble since I lost my leg, and I'm totally independent after 10 surgeries. So it's like I'm going on 70. Why shouldn't I already know? Okay.
Oh, there's lots we don't already know. I'm 70 going on 71. Learning every day. But that's the best thing about it, right? There's always something to learn.
But you're right. Rephrase my affirmation. All is in divine order. All is organized.
Let's work on that.
My legs are working in their new way.
Yes.
I need a new leg. Okay.
I have something that's working well, and I may get something better.
Yeah, yeah, I'm working with the limb group, so it's like, okay.
Wonderful.
It's interesting. It's teaching me how to understand the whole body since I studied it back in Europe, you know, from my right bionic arm, etc. So this lifetime I'm learning. I hope I don't forget in the next one.